We do have some from the public. Marian Hollingsworth.
Good afternoon. My name is Marian Hollingsworth, and I am a patient safety advocate with the Patient Safety League and the Patient Safety Action Network. I would like to congratulate the new members of the medical board and encourage them to make patient safety the priority when reviewing doctor complaints and assigning disciplines. My concern is that with the addition of Dr. Richard Thorp, there are now 2 former presidents of the California Medical Association on this board. Although 30% of the doctors in the state belong to the CMA. With the addition of Dr. Thorp, 60% of the doctors on the board are now CMA members. Dr. Thorp deserves praise for his years of service and for his amazing work with the fires for the people of Paradise and keeping the health care available to those people after the fire. However, his track record is abysmal when it comes to anything dealing with patient safety. He and the CMA had been against raising the microcap, drug testing for doctors, the Cures database. In fact, as late as 2016, the CMA was fighting Cures tooth and nail. The bill for patient notification of doctors on probation. The CMA only stopped fighting this bill when Larry Nassar's and George Tyndall's horrific sexual misconduct cases became public, and the CMA position against the bill became untenable and indefensible. Other issues were the CMA's fight against the proposition to make dialysis clinics safer and cleaner for patients, and most recently the CMA was again on the side of doctors in the opioid crisis by calling the death certificate project a witch hunt and possibly convincing the board into dropping 2 years of patient deaths from the DCP. No matter what you all say, the CMA has tremendous power and influence over this board, a problem that is even more apparent now that there are 2 former presidents securely in place, as well as 3 other active members. It's like the proverbial fox guarding the henhouse. It is tantamount to having the NRA deciding who gets to buy a gun, or even more alarmingly, the NRA being charged with deciding the punishment of a shooter. An example of this is last summer where 3 CMA members sat on a panel that reinstated the license of a doctor who admitted to viewing child porn on her work computer. So my question for the board, especially for the executive director and the president, is, given the strong CMA presence and potential doctor bias, how can you ensure us that the medical board will truly put the safety of the people of California first when it comes to doctor complaints and disciplines? I assume if you don't answer, we have no assurance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Eric Andrist.
Did you speak on 5A and E together? Yeah. Okay, because I have comments on both items and didn't want to. I too want to welcome the new board members, but I must say that I find this whole process very curious when a bodybuilder is appointed over a patient safety advocate to a board that's tasked with protecting patients. Let's hope he uses some of that strength to fight for changes on this board. There is not one patient safety advocate whose sole purpose is patient safety sitting on this board, nor has there ever been in the time that I've been monitoring it. And now Governor has appointed Richard Thorp, a past president of the California Medical Association, an organization that 2/3 of this state's doctors refuse to join, thereby putting 2 past CMA presidents on this panel and bringing the total of CMA member doctors to a majority of 5. I'd also like to point out that while I worked on the Prop 46 campaign in 2013-14, hoping to fix California's micro-law that prevents victims of medical errors from getting an attorney to represent them, I became aware of Richard Thorp when he was fighting us on behalf of the CMA to thwart our efforts to change micro. The CMA didn't care about patient safety and accountability when they fought. I continue to fight efforts to change micro. During the campaign, I personally contacted the original author of the micro-law, Senator Barry Keene, and got him to write a statement saying that the law was out of date, was harmful to victims of medical errors, and needed to be changed. And yet, Richard Thorp continued his falsehoods about the law in order to push the CMA agenda. And now we're supposed to believe that he's going to put patient safety above his and the CMA's agenda? It's a joke, and him sitting on this board is a slap in the face to all patient safety advocates, and you can bet that we will be watching him very carefully if he serves. and calling out every single time he does or says something that's not in the name of patient safety, or decides to side with his little CMA club that 2/3 of the state doctors refuse to join. And I'd like to know why the appointed members already appear on the letterhead and attend these meetings when they still need to be confirmed by the Senate. What if the Senate doesn't confirm them? So to show how little you care about the public's input after the fiasco of a meeting with the advocates in January, we brought up an idea to start a committee that would be mandated by the legislature to meet with patient safety advocates several times a year. This could be something that could alleviate a lot of the problems of Kim and Carrie refusing to respond to us, and then us coming here and having to bring it up at every meeting. Marian Hollingsworth explained how she serves on such a committee with the California Department of Public Health and how the committee was mandated by the legislature and how funds are appropriated to pay for their participation. Now here we are 8 months later, a new committee roster has been generated and there's not one mention by anyone on this board about creating such a committee, let alone simply adding it to the agenda for discussion. This is what I mean. This is the kind of evidence we see that shows that you guys don't give a flying leap about what we come here to tell you. If you think we enjoy this, if you think we enjoy taking time out of our personal lives to prepare for and come to these boring meetings, and from what we see, we do a lot more preparation than a lot of the people sitting up there typing on their computers and looking at their cell phones, you need to think again. It costs us a lot of money to come to these meetings, especially when you keep having them in these very expensive hotels. We were fortunate this time to have a very generous doctor from the San Diego area donate money to our nonprofit to pay for us to come here this time. And yes, doctors are now contacting us and thanking us for what we do because they too don't believe this board is doing its job properly. Doctors are now coming to us with details of how they are treated by this board and their so-called experts. More on this later.